What is up, my friend? Welcome to episode number 35 of the John Amyx podcast. And today we're going to be talking about all about how to be fearless and confident while under pressure. And as you know, with the current conditions of the world at the time of this recording anyway, there is a lot of fear and pressure. So on this Sunday sermon, we're going to dive down the rabbit hole to teach you how to really look the storm in the eye and feel in your bones that you are the storm. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Welcome to the John Amyx podcast. The one and only podcast designed to help you become unstoppable in life and business. My name is John Amyx. My friends call me AJ. And my goal with this podcast is to help you remember who you truly are so you can maintain your center in the chaos, embody your potential, and unlock freedom in your life and business. That being said, let's get into today's show.
All right, so welcome back. Today I want to invite you to imagine that you're in a small boat, like far away from the shore, like so far away that you don't have a clue what direction land is, nor how far that it could possibly be. And as you're on this small boat, like this storm is brewing and the winds get strong and the rains get heavy and the storm capsizes your boat and tosses you into the sea. And as you realize that your boat has just been smashed into bits, like panic sets in. So you do your best to tame the panic, and somehow you find this tiny little life raft and you manage to get yourself onto that life raft. And as you get on the life raft, you take a big, deep breath to calm your nerves. You look around and your mind starts racing with like what to do next. Now, let's be honest. Your boat just sunk. You're in the middle of the ocean with no earthly idea how far land is or what direction that it could be. So thinking clearly is probably going to be a challenge. Yet you realize two things. Number one, the raft that you're on at the moment is saving your life, and you need to stay on the raft until you have a better plan. And number two, deep down, you know the raft that you're on is not a sustainable long-term plan, and you need to get to land. And your mind is going to want to race into 50,000 different possibilities. Now, have you consider if you stay in your head, you're dead. Right now, as of April 5th, 2020, many people across the world are in a life raft because of the impact of COVID-19. According to the New York Times, unemployment is estimated to be around, 13%, which is the highest it's been since the Great Depression, and some theories suggest that it will go higher than the current stats as of today, as this shelter in place is in full effect. Now, my intention with this episode is not to instill fear into your mind. Instead, it's to simply acknowledge what is and to help equip you with the proper mindsets and the skill sets to be fearless and confident in the midst of the storm. This way, you turn your raft into a sailboat and harness the winds of the storm to propel you to your chosen destination. Now, I'm here to tell you that the storm is going to accelerate you in two directions at the same time. In some areas of your life, you're going to be rapidly pushed towards massive limitations. And in other areas of life, you're going to be rapidly pushed towards massive opportunity. Now, not everyone is feeling this push yet, but I guarantee you they will in the next few months. And most people are either freezing, maintaining, or pretending to ignore this right now. By default, this push is going to propel people into massive limitations and self-sabotage, but a handful of people who learn to rise up and stare the storm in the eye, and as the devil whispers in your ear that you're not strong enough to withstand the storm, you'll be able to look the devil in the eye and whisper back, I am the storm. And for those people who choose to focus on the right things, their default push will be a massive opportunity, and you probably already know who you are by default. Now, let me speak plainly. If the skills, tools, and ability to increase your capacity and shift your state of being on a personal level aren't your number one priority right now, I believe you're going to be kicked in the face over the next few years hard. The likes of which you've only heard stories about and you read about in the history books, and the impact on your relationships and your business or career and your confidence and certainty as a human being are going to suffer dramatically. Now, I'm on a mission to help keep that from happening. And after coaching hundreds of people into expanding their lives and businesses forward, after being named one of the top 10 business coaches in the world by HubSpot for 2 years running, I've learned a problem cannot be solved in the same state that it was created in, like ever. For trying to do so defies the law of being. Now, right now, more than 6.7 million people are filing for unemployment. Many of the best marketers on the planet are giving away some of their best courses, and the U.S. government is lending out an unprecedented amount of money. And a lot of people are in fear, and rightfully so, by the way. Yet there is a timeless truth, which is creating from scarcity reaps scarcity. Now, for this is in accordance with the law of being, and history has shown some of the greatest wealth was created during times like these. And I know wealth and security and certainty cannot be created from a place of fear. So if you want to leverage all of the tools being handed to you right now, I'm here to tell you that you must learn how to shift your state of being into a place of power. And from that place, when you take action, you can create results with the proper mindsets and skill sets. And so I've decided to gather a group of people who are ready and willing to have a powerful conversation around critical topics like, number one, recognizing and destroying internal blocks that keep people stalled out. Number two, embodying one's greatest potential even during a recession and massive unemployment. And number three, expanding into more success in life and business regardless of the number of closing doors around us. Now, this conversation is starting next week with 4 specific trainings. Training number 1 is all about making the storms of life and business pay you. Training number 2 is all about how to protect your downside and keep moving towards your goals during chaos. Training number 3 is called How to Recognize and Destroy the Invisible Pattern that keeps entrepreneurs stuck on the same problems and challenges over and over and over again. And I'm still putting the final touches on training number 4, and more than 50 people have already chosen to join me for this training. Now, if you feel this conversation is relevant to you, simply request to join my Shift 101 community, and you can do that by going to Amyx, that's ajamyx.com/community. It's absolutely free. Again, just go to ajamyx.com/community to join and get access to those trainings. See, a lot of people are looking outside of themselves for certainty in the situation. They're looking to the government or to the marketplace, yet the reality is they're lost at sea at night. And everywhere they look outside of themselves, they see nothing but pure darkness. And I'm here to tell you, the only way to be fearless and confident while under pressure is to learn how to source your own certainty. And the keys to that certainty are not found outside of you, they're within you. In John chapter 8, Jesus was teaching at the temple, and in verse 12, Jesus spoke to the Pharisees saying, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. So the Pharisees said to him, you are bearing witness about yourself. Your testimony is not true. And Jesus answered, even if I do bear witness about myself, my testimony is true. For I know where I came from and where I am going, but you do not know where I come from or where I am going. You judge according to the flesh. I judge no one, yet even if I do judge, my judgment is true, for it is not I alone who judge, but I and the Father who sent me. In your law it is written that the testimony of 2 people is true. I am the one who bears witness about myself, and the Father who sent me bears witness about me. They said to him, therefore, where is your Father? And Jesus answered, you know neither me nor my Father. If you knew me, you would know my Father also. Now, I find these words of Jesus extremely powerful because I see what he's saying in a different light than probably a lot of people. See, I believe Jesus was like plugged into consciousness, like he allowed it to guide him, and he called this consciousness the Father. And the Pharisees, see, they knew nothing about this concept because they were so caught up in their heads about the rules and the regulations about their law. But Jesus, on the other hand, knew very well about what it meant to be plugged into source. And I believe Jesus fully embodied the idea of being the soul in control. And this is why he says, anyone who follows me will not walk in darkness. And when the Pharisees challenged him, he told them in John 8, verse 15, you judge according to the flesh. Right now, many people are conjuring up their own fears because they're judging their own realities by the flesh. They're looking outside of themselves to find certainty, and this, my friend, is a losing battle. Sometimes the most powerful place to be is to simply admit the truth of, I don't know. I mean, how long will shelter in place stay? I don't know. Will the economy collapse? I don't know. Will the economy turn around? Maybe. I don't know. Should I pivot my offer? If so, what should it be? I don't know. Should I charge more or should I charge less for what I do? I don't know. Like, it's just coming back to admitting the truth that maybe you don't know. And maybe you do know. If you do know, then you can act on it. But if you don't know, just admit the truth for the moment. I don't know. And this aligning with the truth is mandatory if you want to find power. It's mandatory if you want to transform your fear into faith. Now, I'm not talking about blind, empty faith. I'm not talking about praying to a God outside of you to come save you. You probably heard that old story about the man caught in a flood in his home, right? The one where this guy is in his home and he sees the floodwaters coming and his neighbor stops by and says, yo, man, there's a flood coming. Hop in the truck and let's get out of here. And the guy responds with, I'm okay. God will save me. So the neighbor drives off. Well, the floodwaters come and they start coming into his front door. So he goes to the second story of his house and another comes by in a boat and sees the man standing by the window in the second story of his home. And the neighbor says, get in the boat, man. Let's get out of here. And the man responds with, I'm okay. God will save me. So the neighbor in the boat was like, whatever, and drives off. Well, the floodwaters continue to get higher. So the man goes to sit on his roof. And this helicopter flies over and sees the man sitting on the roof. So the helicopter shouts on the megaphone. He's like, yo, dude, I'll throw you a rope. Let's get out of here. And the man responds with, I'm good. God will save me. So the helicopter flies off. Well, eventually the floodwaters consume the house and the man drowns. And when the man dies, he gets to heaven and he asks God, why didn't you save me? And God responded by saying, I tried. I sent your neighbors in a truck and a boat and a helicopter. Now, this is what I mean by blind faith. In order to be fearless and confident under pressure, you have to align with the truth. You have to admit the floodwaters are coming and you must be prepared to be responsible for your results. Now, I'm not saying this is easy, yet it is simple. And this may be telling the truth about your experience. And for some of you, maybe you've lost your job, or maybe your pay's been cut in half, or your clients have canceled payments, or you're having to negotiate payments with clients, or maybe you're having to let go of team members. Whatever the case may be, it probably hurts. Yet it's the reality. And until you handle the reality, you're going to be caught in stories and meanings and rationalizations and justifications about why things should or shouldn't be what they are. Yet it is what it is. Now, I'm not saying not to have compassion or empathy. Right now, there are days I cycle through sadness and fear. I mean, I'm human too. I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like you do. It's natural and it's normal to feel these things in moments like this. Yet the question becomes, are you going to judge your abilities based on flesh? Or will you take the time to plug into the eternal aspect of yourself known as your soul? And align with the truth. If you don't know the answer, align with the truth of, I don't know. And be open in that pocket, in that space. Be open to be given a small, gentle whisper of what your next step can be. Because in that place, like Jesus talked about, there is light. In John 8:21, Jesus said to them again, I'm going away and you will seek me and you will die in your sin. Where I'm going, you cannot come. So the Jews said, will he kill himself since he says, where I'm going, you cannot come? He said to them, you are from below. I am from above. You are of this world. I am not of this world. See, when Jesus says this, I think many people look at this and they say, well, I'm not Jesus. I'm not the Son of God. I'm not God in flesh. And my response is, you're partly right. I mean, you're not Jesus. You are you. Yet you are God in flesh, and you can do miraculous things. In John 14, verse 12, Jesus says, very truly I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing, and they will do even greater things than these, because I am going to the Father. Now, many take this to mean that they must believe in Jesus. Now, I don't see it this way. I see it differently. Again, I see it as those who live as Jesus lived. Those who choose to tap into their soul, tap into consciousness, spirit, universe, whatever name you want to call it, and allow that to lead them, will do even greater things than he. Now, why is this? Because the reality is, as humanity expands, as human consciousness expands, we're all standing on the shoulders of giants. Meaning we have knowledge and past experiences to glean wisdom from and to act on that allows us to create even bigger results faster. Yet way too many people are caught up in their flesh. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying don't enjoy the experience of the flesh. That's why we're here, to have a human experience in the flesh. If that wasn't so, wouldn't our souls have just chosen to stay in full-on consciousness? This is the power of the paradox. On one hand, you are a soul, and on the other hand, you're a human. It's not a game of either or, it's a game of and also. You are a human here to experience a specific purpose, and you're also an eternal soul. And I'm here to tell you, if you want to be fearless and confident now, It is time to remember who you are, which is the soul in control, and to tap into that source and allow it to guide you, just as it guided Jesus. In John 8:24, Jesus said, I told you that you would die in your sins, for unless you believe that I am he, you will die in your sins. So they said to him, who are you? Jesus said to them, just what I've been telling you from the beginning. I have much to say about you and much to judge, but he who sent me is true, and I declare to the world what I have heard from him. Now they did not understand that he had been speaking to them about the Father. So Jesus said to them, when you have lifted up the Son of Man, then you will know that I am he, and that I do nothing on my own authority, but speak just as the Father taught me. And he who sent me is with me. He has not left me alone, for I always do the things that are pleasing to him. As he was saying these things, many believed him. See, the Pharisees couldn't comprehend this at the time because they were so attached to their way. They were so attached to their law. What Jesus was saying was so far outside their own perspective, they were not open to sitting in the pocket and objectively looking at what Jesus was telling them. Now, what I believe what Jesus was trying to say here is, again, plug into the Father. Plug into consciousness, spirit, universe, whatever you call that. Allow that eternal nothingness to guide you, because deep down, that's what you are. And right now, the minds of men are clouded with fear, for they cannot see. And many will either die physically, or their hopes and dreams will perish from the pressures of this storm. Yet in John 8, verses 31 and 32, Jesus said, if you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Now, the only way to be the captain of your own ship is to align with the truth. And so many people are so attached to the way that they want things to be. And all that is doing is fueling their own feelings of anger or hopelessness or sadness. And I'm here to tell you today, stop the madness. Admit the truth. There's a storm. And if the storm has capsized your boat, let's just admit that. And from that place, let's look at the numbers of your situation and find a way through. This week, my wife and I, we lost about $170,000 to $180,000 per year of income into our own family household. And the reality is it hurt. Yet on the other side of this, it is what it is. And I could sit here and I could bitch and I complain about how hard it is or how we wish it would be another way. Or we can just heed the words of Jesus and align with the truth. And from that place, we can sit down and look at our expenses and find a way through, which we have. And thankfully, we've made some good decisions when times were good, and we made sure that we were prepared for a storm. And I also understand that that's not the case with a lot of other people. And a big part of me feels a lot of sadness. A big part of me feels hurt by this because I know many people are hurting. I read about how the shelter in place and the tanking of the economy is increasing the cases of domestic violence and depression and suicide. And a part of me hurts when I hear this. And there's another part of me that is afraid as well, because my mind starts conjuring up these crazy scenarios of not being able to make sales or generate revenue or do this or that. Yet there's another part of me, because I've learned how to discipline my mind. There's this other part of me that's wake up. It's going to be okay. Stop being attached to the things of the flesh. Align with the truth and find a way to make it through the storm. Now, I know if you heed my words today, you can become fearless and confident while under pressure. And it takes courage, and courage is a choice. I think it was John Wayne who said, courage is being scared to death and saddling up anyway. If you're on a life raft, my friend, in the storm right now, courage is choosing to make a sail. Courage is choosing to harness the power of the winds of this storm. Courage is choosing to trust in your ability to trust yourself, to make decisions, to use the power of the winds to propel you to your promised land. Now, Jesus modeled a way of being that was tapped into source for us to follow, to navigate this storm powerfully, to be fearless and confident while under pressure. I truly believe we must all learn to plug into source and allow that to guide us. We must learn to see not with our earthly eyes, but with our spiritual eyes. So my invitation to you this day is this. Where in your life are you falling into the trap of believing what you see with your flesh? Where in your life and business are you looking outside of yourself for answers rather than turning inwards to seek the clear path that is for you? And what may be possible for you today if you chose to trust that eternal aspect of yourself to guide you. My friend, that's going to do it for this episode of the Anthony John Amyx podcast. There are so many reasons people don't choose to access their spirit. Whether it be they were wounded by their upbringing in the church, or maybe they've never had an experience with their soul to allow them to truly understand what is possible for their lives. In the season of life, more now than ever, I'm personally choosing to use the tools to teach my clients to access that highest part of me that guides me in seeing in the storm. And it's requiring a whole new level of trust for me. Not a blind faith by any means, rather a faith in which Jesus modeled for us. One where I can say, I and my actions are from above. This week, Inside Shift 101, I'm hosting 4 free trainings to help people destroy mental blocks, embody their greatest potential, and unlock lasting riches in life and business. If you want access to those trainings, simply go to ajamyx.com/community. And I can honestly say these trainings are extremely powerful in helping you understand the timeless principles, the scientific truths, and the spiritual experiences, so you can create whatever you decide that you want reliably and consistently throughout all areas of life, regardless of the storm, regardless of the economy. Again, just go to ajamyx.com/community to join the community and get access to those trainings. Thank you so much for being here today. I wish nothing but the best for you and your family. Until next time, my friend, lots of love to you. I'm out. Peace.
Well, that's all I've got for this episode of the Anthony John Amyx podcast, but we have plenty more to help you become unstoppable in life and business. So head on over to ajamyx.com for exclusive resources, information, and tools to help you break through to a new level of freedom, purpose, and success. I look forward to having you back for the next episode. Bye for now.